Renzo, is there any topic that you're so passionate about that you feel you actually know more than the experts or almost there?
Oh, okay. So yes, I sometimes half joke about being a coffee snob, and
Interesting.
but I'm self-deprecating about it. I'm I'm a snob, but I don't look down on other people's coffee. For example, I know what I like. I'm very particular about it, and I know that you're wrong, but I won't tell you to your face.
Okay.
So so I'm quiet. I'm modest about it, but inside I know.
I saw a meme the other day on Instagram that said, "Life hack, how to make Starbucks coffee at your home. Just drop hot water on top of ashtray
That's what
ashes."
it tastes like.
It does
Yes.
taste like
Yeah.
ashtray. It's not good.
So
And
what brings us to ashtray water
right,
for just a
exactly.
Spanish phrase, Maria?
Because considering the Pope, El
Oh,
Papa,
el Papa
just died,
Francisco. Yeah.
I don't know why I decided to pick an expression that has the word Papa, Pope, in
Oh,
it. And that expression is más papista que el Papa.
has to be. Yes, I've heard that one.
And just before we start talking about that expression, this is
Just a Spanish phrase where we're going to dive deep into the origins and cultural context of Spanish expressions to, awaken that curiosity in all of you listeners.
exactly. So last time I checked, Catholic religion was still 60% of the population in Latin America.
Yes, still the
Where
dominant form of Christianity.
exactly.
Yeah,
So that's why we have many expressions that come from religious sayings.
so
And
many.
one of them is más papista que el Papa.
So in English, that would be like more, this is going to sound kind of silly, but more popey than the Pope?
Yeah, or more royal than the king or something like that. Is
Mm,
when you're like more and again the exact origin of the expression is not known, but considering we have been practicing that religion for so many years, it makes sense. It's
yes.
just but the meaning is when you think you know more than the experts, or
Oh,
when you start talking so much about something that people tell you, hey, you're being más papista que el Papa. Come on.
right.
Like now you're a coffee expert and I cannot enjoy my mm, silly, I'm not going to name brands, although we already did Starbucks. I'm not going to enjoy my Dunkin' Donuts cheap coffee near you because
No,
I'm going to
no,
feel
I
bad.
want you to enjoy it. I want you
Oh,
to
I will.
enjoy your inferior coffee. Um, so
So,
so when it comes to coffee, and I'm just joking, of course, about your coffee. All coffee orders are valid, as they say. But when it comes to that, yo soy más papista que el Papa because I think I know more than anyone on that subject, right?
yeah, me too with nutrition. I feel I've done so many like diets and change of habits, etc. That now I feel like no, hey, how many grams of protein have you having in each meal? Because you need this amount of protein per kilogram of body
Oh,
weight,
yeah.
and this amount of but look at this protein powder has too much sugar. So I become más papista que el Papa, more
Yeah.
expert than any nutritionist. And I think that's another one of the effects of social media. People are getting informed on Instagram or on
Mm,
Facebook, etc. And you know how they say a little knowledge is dangerous.
yes.
And I think a lot of people start preaching about the news or about events or about nutrition and about health as if they knew what they're talking about, when in reality they just follow a couple of influencers and they
Yeah.
just repeat what those influencers are saying. And if they fact check, they would realize, it has no attachment to the truth, but because those influencers are más papistas que el Papa, are more royal than the king,
Yeah.
they believe what
I know,
they
and it's
say.
so dangerous, so many people. I've heard this. Have you heard this idea of armchair experts?
Yes, 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 of course.
So
It's
people that are, thinking they're experts, but without doing the
You
necessary, background research, or maybe they think they're doing research, but like you said, they're trusting these sources that are más papistas que el papa, right? They're
Yeah,
not, they don't really
exactly.
deserve it.
Or experts in Venezuelan politics that have never visited
Oh,
Venezuela, that don't
I
speak
bet you
Spanish, that they, yeah,
meet a
I've
lot of
encountered
those.
some of those.
Yeah.
But that also makes me think of a term I heard for the first time recently: armchair warrior.
Whoa, that's a step beyond armchair expert. So is that someone? Well, you tell me. What does that mean?
It's those people who are like sitting all day behind their keyboard,
Oh,
just being like activists,
yeah.
or más papistas que el Papa, because
Yeah.
they know more about politics, they know more about global warming,
Yeah.
or about anything.
Sometimes it feels like no matter what the subject is, they're gonna know more than you.
They're más papistas que el Papa,
That's
for
right.
sure.
So would you say that this expression, you use it more often to describe someone that is behaving this way, but definitely doesn't deserve it, right?
Yes, exactly. It's like there's nobody, and you can see that in our lesson. If you visit newsinslowspanish.com, Latino, this is on the Latino part of our website, and you look for the expressions catalog, you could see many ways to incorporate this expression, but also you see the meaning and the origin. And part of the meaning is like there's nobody more sacred than the Pope,
Mhm.
right? So if you're more papista que el Papa, that means you're taking things too far. You're like, if you think you know more than the Pope when it comes to religion in this life, then you are pretty much overestimating yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like these people thinking they know more than doctors, and
that's a classic. Knowing more than your doctor. Yeah, I'd rather trust the
yeah,
person
Neil
who spent
deGrasse
10
Tyson.
years studying that.
Yeah, exactly. Neil deGrasse Tyson, which is one of my heroes. I really admire him. He was saying one of the problems of current civilization or of modern times is that we are not believing in experts anymore. We lost faith in our experts.
Yeah.
So would you fly an airplane that is piloted by an Instagram warrior that learned how to fly an airplane in a crash course? Would you have a surgery performed by an Instagram expert? No, you wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
Then why do you trust your nutrition or supplements or anything on them?
It's because these channels, they enhance and amplify voices that honestly, they're más papistas que el Papa.
Exactly.
They really shouldn't have that large of a platform, but there it is.
And they think they know more than doctors, more than pilots, more than anybody.
You know what? To wrap this up, I would say that I think what we should take away is that we need a little bit more humility from these people and from ourselves. And what better example than, you brought up the Pope, and recently he passed away, Papa Francisco. He was a pretty humble guy.
He was humble, and he was the first Latin American Pope.
That's right. Yeah. Well, with that, I guess we wrap up our episode before we start getting too preachy and start sounding like we're more papistas
que el Papa. And we just invite you to visit newsinslowspanish.com, where every week we actually covered the passing of the Pope and other news in this week episode.
Yes, that's right. You can learn Spanish by listening to current events, listening to conversations about those events, and hopefully pretty humble, well-informed opinions. Not.
But please don't become más papistas que el Papa.
Yes.
Adiós.